find something wrong with them. They were just never good enough for her. Enter Bob Santucci. Just wait, it's okay. Fast forward to Christmas break 2012, and my mama bear instincts were on high alert the day we got to meet Bob. I was ready to keep watch for any red flags, while simultaneously trying to ignore my heart-skipping beats for my sweet sister, and realizing that this guy could be the guy. And I desperately tried hard to find something to disqualify him. And I had to fight myself, blurting out, "Prove you're worthy to deserve this special seat in Tori's life." And you did, Bob. You prove it in the way you look at Tori, and the way you talk to her respectfully. You prove it in the way you gently care for her heart, and in how you stand up for her. You prove it in your courage to step into tricky life situations and not leave Tori to sort through things alone. You prove it in your leadership and your faithfulness and how you see her as equal. You prove it in being named Bob. That runs in the family. You are strong, smart, and successful, a hard worker. Yet you are humble enough to play with kids, my kids, and gracious enough to let them climb all over you, and patient enough to throw them in the air 72 times every time we see you. You have what it takes to fill this role, Bob. You have, and you continue to prove you're worthy to deserve this special seat in Tori's life. I'm really glad you guys chose each other, and I love you both so dearly. Well, very much. We need Bill up here.
Thank you, Ruth. That is a tough act to follow, but I'm glad you said some nice things about Bob, so that kind of gives me license to not say that. So first, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for coming. Yeah, living with Bob, as during this wedding planning process, I've seen the blood, sweat, and tears. There were some tears that went into planning this wedding. They put a lot of effort and a lot of time into it, and I know it means a lot to them, and everyone's here. So thanks everyone for coming. When I thought about how to start this thing, I was having some trouble. I'm Bob's older brother, so I've known him his whole life. And it's hard to just where to start for a relationship 26 years. And so I thought, well, best place to start is the beginning. The actual beginning. With Bob's least favorite story that my mom loves to tell. Story of Bob's birth. So sometimes we get my mom going on this topic. She's like, Mom, so what was it like, being pregnant with me or Joe or Jack? She's like, oh yeah, you guys were pretty easy. Oh, but Bob came out of the womb like a rocket. He was all 10 pounds of it. Bob just shot right out of there. At which point, Bob's like, oh, Mom, geez, this is disgusting. Stop, enough. So I figured I had to start there, not just because it's somewhat embarrassing for Bob, but also because I think it's fitting that he came into the world that way. Bob, he's always going, full speed. He's always putting 100% of himself into everything he does. Sometimes, though, when he was younger, this got him into some trouble. Bob, I wouldn't call him rambunctious per se, but some of my earliest memories of Bob were him getting hurt in slightly unusual, somewhat embarrassing ways. The first time was back at our old house on 28th. We shared a room upstairs. And Bob, since I'm telling the story, he can't correct me. It starts with me being a generally nice, good kid. And I was doing nothing wrong. When Bob, out of nowhere, decides to charge at me with a broom. I was doing nothing wrong. And so he charges at me with the broom. And in my mind, he's like a bull rushing. I'm mad at him, like sidestepping him. and he crashes into the dresser. And this would have been the end of the story, but we had a metal garbage can up on the dresser. I think we might have been like shooting hoops into it or something. It falls down, cracks open his head, and he has to get stitches. Luckily, I was fine. That was the first time I remember Bob going to the emergency room. The second time was when he swallowed a quarter. Yes, he swallowed a quarter. You heard it. We were in bunk beds, and I was in the top bunk, he was on the bottom bunk. And we're talking about the Mariners, I think, or something. But Bob had a quarter. He's laying on his back, and he's kind of looking at the quarter, fiddling with it above his head. And I think it was a new state quarter. Bob was collecting the state quarters around that time that came out. Probably got a new one. He's looking at it, and all of a sudden, we're just talking. All of a sudden, I think it might have clinked a tooth on the way down. I hear something drop, I'm like a gulp, and then before I knew it, he shoots out of bed and just sprints up the stairs. Mom, I swallowed a quarter. I can't breathe. I swear he had not moved that fast since he left the womb. But so he, as we got older, he hurt himself less and less. But I think some of the early, kind of traumatic events had left a lasting impact on him. He became somewhat of a hypochondriac in high school. Some little ailments might be exaggerated. It was a bit dramatic. Senior year, he was having some headaches, and he was convinced he had a brain tumor. He was so convinced that he would tell my mom. My mom didn't believe it. She's a nurse. She was hard to fool with these kind of things, but he was convinced. He would say, "Mom, you're going to regret this someday when I die of a brain tumor." And I think she might have been tipped off by the fact that the headaches were worse when he was doing calculus homework. I think that might have been the first clue. But luckily, Bob was wrong and my mom was right, as usual. Growing up with 5 kids in our family, Bob, it was never a dull moment. And Bob was oftentimes the one providing the entertainment. I have to say, I think he's the funniest guy, the funniest person in our family, and one of the funniest guys I know. And that's tough for me to say, considering myself to be pretty funny. But Bob was always making us laugh, and I guarantee whenever the family's together, Bob was the one making sure we had a good time. And some of his favorite jokes probably his favorite is throwing random fruit off the counter at people and in midair yelling, "Catch!" Especially to names, also to Tori. Doesn't matter the fruit, apple, banana, literally a watermelon. Literally a watermelon. Another time he likes the shock value. Another time he cracked an egg over his own head just to get me and Mames to laugh in the kitchen. And I think a really good example of this, now I'm starting to feel bad as we're hanging on. Another example of this is we were up at the cabin and he decided to pour some dish soap on Mames' head, kind of unprovoked, sort of out of nowhere, and maybe that makes him sound like a meaner older brother, but to be fair, we all kind of had to put Mames in her place sometimes. As the younger sister of 4 brothers, so it was par for the course, but we all thought it was funny. Of course, Mames did not. Mames was upset, and because Mames was upset, Bob kind of was like, didn't think her anger was justified. He kind of turned it on her. "What's wrong with you? Just a little soap. Like, why are you being such a baby?" And when she didn't buy his argument, he decided to prove his point by taking the soap and pouring it on his own head. He drove the point home a little too hard when the soap started running down into his eyes. And he ends up over the sink, like trying to get the soap out. And he realized that it was actually pretty bad. But I don't think I laughed that hard in a long time. But as I mentioned earlier, Bob does everything. He puts himself in everything he does 100%. Whether it be on the soccer field or basketball court, where his hustle and effort earned him the nickname Psycho B in high school. You guys remember that? Or with food. He's literally never eaten at a Yelp restaurant with less than 4 stars, or on Yelp. Literally never. Or with his commitment to fitness and working out. I was actually just home at my parents' house. I was opened up, I think I was going to ESPN, I opened up the web browser, and I see the bookmarks on the side of that. And to this day, there's like Hugh Jackman meal plan, Wolverine workout, link, bookmark. Like the Google image page of Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, I have to say, it's paying off for us. But he does put himself into everything he does, and one of the ways that's manifested itself recently is he coming up with his commitment to eating healthy and coming up with health food products. And ever since every other week, I was coming home from work, and Bob and Tori would have a new idea for a product. And one day, I came home and there was an ice cream maker on the counter, and all these ice cream pints, and they were making paleo ice cream. And it was actually really good. That was one of my favorites. Another time I come home, there's this dehydrator, which I didn't know. It was a big black box, 3x3. I was like, what the heck is this? It's like, oh, we're dehydrating cauliflower chips, and that's the new product. And I was like, okay. Those weren't as good as ice cream. And then another time, it was a highly caffeinated tea beverage, tea and fruit juice. I come home at Amazon, get all these tea, or these glasses to pour the tea in. Another time, my favorite actually was New Almond, which is French for nude almond. And it was almond flour, chips, and crackers. And the reason that was my favorite is because the flagship product was Tori's almond flour crackers, which a lot of people here have had them. And in my family, they're incredible. In my family, it's become a staple. It got kind of to the point where we would see Tori and we'd be like, oh, Tori, it's so good to see you. Oh my gosh, it's so great. Where are the crackers? The crackers here yet? Because we love them so much. I think if there's one thing that exemplifies Bob's enthusiasm and passion for life, more than anything else, it's not his relentless hustle, effort playing sports, not his love for food, or his ideas on new products. It's his love for Tori. And looking at her tonight, it's easy to see why. She's beautiful. Sorry. I'll get serious a little bit, but there's more jokes later. Tori, Mr. Bosch, are you coming out? They can give you that? I know I speak for everyone in the family when I say we cannot think of anyone we'd rather have join your family or a better wife for Bob. And Bob, I'm always proud of you, but never more so than thank you. More jokes. So, similar to Ruth, I met Tori 2012, I think it was her sophomore year, Bob's senior year. Christmas break, Rob brought her home, and when a new girl comes home, it's always really exciting. Not for Bob specifically. Not like Bob, just in the family. And so I met Tori, and from the start, she was a natural fit. She was grounded. She was easy to talk to. She was cute and sweet. And it was great. After they left, or first thing to do is everyone's like, oh, what do you think? What do you think? And needless to say, Tori passed with flying colors. She checked all the boxes. She's smart, athletic, fun, funny, easy to be around, and we were all excited about. But I don't think I knew for sure that Tori was the one until maybe 6-7 months later that summer. We were up at the cabin, and Bob sometimes gets a little worked up about things, gets a little excited and dramatic. For example, he doesn't just like a movie or something. He doesn't just like the movie Avatar. He loved it so much that he was depressed when he walked out of the theater because he wanted to live on Pandora with a non-human. Actual quote. He doesn't just not like the movie The Dark Knight Rises. It's the worst movie ever made, and anyone who likes it is just an idiot. He doesn't know. So for some reason, I wanted to say we were talking about movies or something, but he was getting worked up, saying something kind of ridiculous, and Tori just kind of like rolls her eyes and is like, "Okay, Bob, like calm down. You're being ridiculous." And me and Maine were talking later that day, and we're like, "Yeah, wasn't that kind of awesome when Tori just like owned Bob?" Like, I think she could be the one. But seriously, Tori has really become part of our family in ways I never could have imagined. We have a very tight-knit family, and I wouldn't have thought, an outsider, so to speak, someone that wasn't in the family could come in and fit in so perfectly. Whenever anyone sees Bob and the family, the first question, not just our immediate family, but every aunts, uncles, cousins, first question is, well, where's Tori? We want to see Tori. And it's because we love having her around so much. Last summer, me and Mames were actually talking up at the cabin again, and we were talking about kind of significant others, ex-boyfriends or girlfriends of people in the family who maybe were great, but sometimes we like to just have a family member around. It's like we love this person. Well, now they're exes, so we don't care about them. But at the time, they were great. But we always kind of sometimes would like to have just our family member around, and then. With Tori, it was actually the exact opposite. Sometimes we wanted just Tori around, not Bob. And we were only half kidding. Of course, we love having Bob around. He's our brother, and we love him. He's my best friend. But it's true that if Bob wasn't around and Tori was, we wouldn't skip a beat. She was so much part of the family. No, it's just emphasizing how much we love her. So I just want to wrap up with elaborating a little bit on the story that Father Peter alluded to with Fraley Mountain. He mentioned it, we got a little taste, but I don't think it quite captured the essence of what happened there. So I remember I was in Seattle. I was at a concert with a couple friends, and I get this text from my mom like, Tori and Bob lost on Fraley. It's pitch black. They have no clothes, no shelter, no food, no water. Start praying. And my first thought was like, how the hell do you get lost on Fraley Mountain? People have done the hike 100 times. We walk straight up and we walk straight back down. I didn't start getting really concerned until I realized, I found out that my dad was making one of Bob's favorite dinners that night, and he didn't show up, and then I was like, oh, they were in trouble. Bob isn't just a dinner lightly. And actually, when my mom was talking to the search and rescue people, they asked, well, is it possible they just met up with some friends and they're coming home later? No. His dad was making his favorite dinner. Pope Francis could have been walking down Fraley and he wouldn't have stopped. What happened? They were left at about 4:30. It was in April, I think, and my mom said, it was a beautiful day. And my mom was like, Bob, it's getting kind of late. Are you sure? You can get up there. It's like, oh yeah, that's fine. And they go up there and they make a great time. They see the sunset up on Fraley, perfect. and then that's where things went south. We don't know exactly what happened. Bob's GPS watch showed that they had run and walked more than 20 miles, and it shouldn't have been that long. They ended up off on the road about 15 miles away from the cabin, like on the other side of the mountain. The thing that kind of stuck out to me about this whole story, they got home safe, and everyone was worried about them, but they got home safe. And what stuck out to me was when Tori got home, they got back and talking about it later. Tori said, that's kind of when if I wasn't sure before, I was sure after that hike that Bob was the one, because he was so calm and cool and collected and kept her feeling, as the panic was rising, kept her feeling safe. And that may be somewhat of a surprise to me and the rest of the guys who were in that elevator in Milwaukee when we got stuck. Because we wouldn't have described Bob maybe as calm and collected. And he did get us out, but it wasn't in a calm manner. But then it didn't surprise me because, when it comes to Tori, I think it's clear that Bob would rise to the occasion. And definitely, be protective and make sure that they were okay. And the great thing about it is that they're such a good team. Whether it's the lost Aunt Fraley or they're just cooking dinner at home, which a lot of times I benefited from, or they're coming up with these new business ideas. They're always working as a team. And one of the things that stuck out to me about Father Peter's homily was kind of being an example for others and your love, kind of, showing others how to be. Because, as a single guy looking for love, I know it's difficult. How to put that out there? I've learned a lot from their relationship, and that struck me today. It's true. They're wonderful for me and for all of us. How to love. And so, I guess with that, just raise a glass. I did my glass up here.
Anybody else?
I wasn't prepared to do this, and this isn't me. I don't normally do this. I've spoken in front of, vice presidents and senior engineers and a lot of very important people in Boeing. My 28 years there. This is terrifying. Technical stuff is easy. You point at a PowerPoint and explain stuff. They don't care. But this is family. Very important stuff. My 5 kids. I'm Tori's dad, if you don't know me. Bob, of course. My 5 kids are more important to me than anything in the world. And I live and die by their successes and failures, every instance in their life. I keep my emotions to myself, but I watch them closely. I try to guide them as much as I can without, disturbing the balance of things. But Bob did one of the most respectful things I've ever seen in my life. When he came and contacted me to ask for Tori's hand in marriage. Met me close to work at Starbucks, and we talked, half an hour or so, and it was just classic stuff. And Bob could be anybody, and as long as Tori thinks he's the right guy, he is the right guy, because I trust her judgment more than anything. And when he did that for me, that was so special. if I could have a sixth kid in my life, it would be that guy right there. And now he is my sixth kid. I love you guys, and I wish you the best ever.
Okay, another Bob is talking. We are going to fight over who's Grandpa Bob. That's going to be a tough one. Everybody's been talking about the other people in this room, and I'm seeing this as a day of redemption for me. All my life, I can look at Bob, and I can say, he's tall, but he gets that from his mom. Dark and good looking. His mother. He was a very good student, came from his mom. People said he was a good athlete, his mother. And I'm saying, well, what about me? How come I don't get any credit for Bob? Tonight is my night for credit. Because I showed Bob what it is to find a good woman and have a mother for your children. And Bob did a spectacular job. That came from me. Nobody else gave me that. I showed him that. And I look at Tori, she's perfect in every way. She's smart, she's beautiful, she's kind and caring. Why she's stuck with Bob, I don't know, but it's her cross to bear. She'll do it. We are just so happy. Like my brother Bob, I have 5 children, now 6, and it was the dream of our life to get Tori to enter our family. And we love her dearly, and we are so happy. So here's Bob and Tori. May you continue to deserve all the good things that God has given us.
All right, anybody else?
My name is not Bob. I didn't know this was going to happen. We came up from Canada, and Bob is Bob's my best friend. Has been for a long time, and as soon as the first words came out in the ceremony, Paul and I started crying sort of simultaneously, and when Tori was in our laps together when she was just born and stuff like that, and such a cuddly little kid and stuff, who would have thunk it that we'd be going to Gonzaga and watch her soccer games and just beating the hell out of these other players, and along with half the soccer team that's here today and stuff like that. But you know what? Bob has been incredible. We're basically a farming family in Canada, which means we make no money and we don't have a retirement plan. Okay? But okay? As we grow fruit and vegetables, okay? Bob has been there in the good times. Well, there wasn't any of those, so he's been there in the bad times, okay? And he's come to we had a soccer tournament up there for 18 years. He was there every year. We have a spring planting. A spring planting sounds like a lot of fun. The annual spring plant at Hilltop Gardens Farm. Bob calls it the Rock Farm. What it means is you plant 6,000 tomatoes in 100-degree heat. Okay? That's our spring planting. And he's been there every year, except this year. And nothing against him. But anyways, and Tori's been there a number of occasions. And Garrett's been there. And I think all the kids have been. But what I'm trying to say is they are our family, and we just don't see enough of them. And I was just saying, I was talking to Jen, and she's saying, Jen's saying, why you're crying so much? I don't know, you get married, Jen, we'll cry as much at your wedding as we are at Tori's, because you kids are our kids and stuff. We have 5 kids of our own, but we also think we have the Lee children are also a little part of our hearts and stuff like that. And Bob has been that person for our family and we've grown up with his children, and we get invited to every single Lee family event. We make about 10% of them, but I am so honored to be here with my wonderful wife, Paulette, and to meet the Santucci's, and to sit across from Bob and Helen last night was wonderful. And I really feel I know the Santucci's, and I believe they meet the standards of the Lee family. And that bar is set pretty damn high, a little higher than the Trump bar, so welcome to the family, Bob, and your whole family. And if you ever need anybody to babysit that little cabin you have on the lake, Paulette and I will gladly come down from Canada and help you out there. We love you, Tori. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Emotional speeches. We just want to thank everyone for being here. It means the world to us. Bosh, family. Sorry. No, we really do appreciate it. I mean, those who know me, I sometimes romanticize about this notion of run away, get married, and not, have this.
Tori vortex.
Oh, the Tori vortex. Anyways, what I was saying there with the eloping type notion of a wedding was just erased. I mean, this has been such an amazing experience to have everyone in front of us as we come together and join each other, and it's just been absolutely amazing. So thank you all for being here and supporting us in this.
And the Lord gave us some sunshine. We just pray that we'll live up to these words for the rest of our life and just be that witness to all of you here. So we love you all. We're ready to just dance now, right?
All right, let's get into the first dance.